Hi everyone, it's Teacher Tana and welcome back to my online classroom. Today I want to share with you a new tool that you could use for your online meetings with students. This tool is amazing. It allows for real-time collaboration between students and between yourself and students. And it also allows you to see their learning and misconceptions in real time so that you can make adjustments to your teaching right then and there. The tool that I want to share with you guys today is called Jamboard. Now, Jamboard is a digital interactive whiteboard, and it can be integrated into any meeting tool that you're using, whether that's Zoom or Web by Cisco, or if you're using Google Meets. But I have really good news for those of us who have gotten used to Google Meets, and that is Google Meets has suddenly integrated this tool right into the meeting setting. So it is even more convenient for those who are super comfortable with Google Meets. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. All right, so the first thing you want to do is to go ahead and open up a Google Meet. So for me, that's meet.google.com. You can see here I've got meetings already ready to go, but I'm going to go ahead and start just a new meeting. I'm going to call this one Trial for Jamboard. And I'm so excited to share Jamboards with you. I think it's going to be a big asset for you guys as you are teaching fully online. All right, so then I'm going to go ahead and press Join Now. So now I'm in my meeting. So you'll be in the meeting with all the students. Obviously, you want to invite students in. If you're not sure how to use Google Meets, I do have a video on Google Meets, so go ahead and check my YouTube page in order to find them. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and that's really convenient, is that Jamboard has now been completely incorporated into Google Meet. So I don't have to do something completely separate. I can do it all within this platform. So I'm going to go down here to these little like 3 checks or 3 dots. I said checks, and then I'm going to click Whiteboard, and you'll see there it says Open a Jam, and that's exactly what we want to do. 2 options are going to pop up. Option number 1 is to start a new whiteboard, and option number 2 is to choose from the drive. So we're going to go with start with a new whiteboard at this point. So now it's creating our jam. We can see it open up in a different page. So here's the name of our meeting still, like it's got our date and everything, so that's nice. I actually like to personalize this, so I'm going to keep the date on it, but I'm going to say, let's say my Jamboard's going to be about favorite foods. This is always a low-key kind of like intro for students. So that way I can easily find it later, and I will explain what I mean by that in a few minutes. So let me go ahead and open this up a little bit more so you can see it. So you've got a couple options here. You can see we've got a blank whiteboard. And so once you share the link with students, or actually so when I opened up the assignment here, it actually in the chat went ahead and it automatically shared the jam with my students. So if I'm in the meeting, I would tell my students now, okay, awesome job guys, I need you all to click the jam file. So they'll be inside the jam file. You can see what it looks like when they access it. Now there's a couple things. My school has some security settings, so you can see even when I have share, it says private only to me. So right now the students can't access it. So I'm going to change this and make it anyone can access, because I'm not really worried about anyone finding this who's not a part of my class. And then this is important. If I want the kids to interact, I need to change from viewer to editor. Now later on, I will move it back to viewer, and I will explain why. But for right now, I want to put it in editor. So the good thing is permissions are automatically updated, so I don't have to reshare the link with them either, and I can just press done. So this is really convenient if I'm creating this on the fly, like, oh, I'm realizing the students come in and I want to ask them a quick question, and I can just create the Jamboard right in front of them. So now here it is, ready to go. Right now you can see that I have 1 page. If I want more pages, I can click the button and then I can press plus. I can add a frame before it, or I can add a frame after just by pressing plus. There's also a couple more options here. I can duplicate the frame, and then if I have multiple frames, if I have 1, I can't delete it, but if I have multiple frames, I can go ahead and delete the extra ones. So that's kind of nice. And I'll show you too, if I add multiple frames, so you can see here, I can also move their order really simply. So you can see I just moved frame 4 all the way to 2. And that's something that I actually do throughout classes, kind of move frames around. Okay, so let's say I want to ask the students a question. So I clicked You can see there's a couple different options here. I can just do pen, right? And then there's a couple options for my pen. I can change the color. I can change the type of pen. So let's just, this is my favorite color. So we'll do that. And then you can see the difference here. So you just play around with it, figure out what you like. That one's like a brush pen, which is so nice, like a calligraphy pen. Obviously, I can change the colors. I can also use the eraser here and erase things. Now, this one does take a little while to erase this way. So a faster way would just be to press clear frame, and then it's completely blank. I can also use this to select, just like I would a normal mouse piece. This one's really nice. This is sticky note, and this is a way that I have students collaborate with me. They make a sticky note, and they can write whatever they want in it. I always, and I've normed my students to end it with their name, because after they've created the sticky note, there's no way for me to be able to find out who made the note and who didn't. So this is an easy way for me to see that. You can see some options for them. They can change the color of the sticky note, or they can make it so that there's no color and it's just a blank. I like to have them pick a color. So there's my sticky note, and then they can close it. Now, once the sticky note is created, they can make it bigger or smaller. They can rotate it there. They can move it all over the page. They can also edit it. So if they're like, oh man, I need to fix it. So for me, I usually have students write a sentence, and then we go over like, hey, sentences should have capital letters and periods, or we need to work on conjunctions today. And if they haven't done it, so then I show them to edit it. They can also duplicate the sticky note, and then finally they can delete it. Another thing they can do is they can order them, right? So they can put them on top of each other, right? They can send them to the back, or they can send them forward. You can kind of see how that worked. Okay. Another option is for a student to add an image, and this is one of my favorite ones. I actually this week just completed a Jamboard where students uploaded their favorite memes. So I know they're experiencing so much stress moving completely virtual, so I wanted them to like have a good laugh with me in class, and memes were just a really easy way to do that. So I taught kids how to do it. So what you would do is you press Add Image, and you've got a couple options to add an image from. You can add them from a Google search. You can add it from your Drive. You can add it from or you can add it from photos on your computer. So for me, I usually add everything from my computer. So I shared, for example, this meme with them this week, and I actually shared my screen and showed them how to do all this, and then I put my meme down. Now, you'll notice like a weakness here is I loaded this, but nobody would know that that was me. It could have been a student, it could have been me. So I always have them label it by using the text box. So we'll just talk about the text box feature. So once I've selected it right here, then I can click anywhere on the page. So I'm gonna want it here. And then I labeled it. So you can see it's labeled. I've also had at times where I have kids move it to the actual picture, and then they can edit the color of it. So now I can actually see it. But you can see, just like text, they can make it bigger, they can make it smaller. There's a couple options there. So I like to kind of keep it caption size, and then I'm going to make it black. And also center it. So the normal options that you would get for like word processing you get here in that text box. Another thing that I could do, which I kind of jumped over, was I can add some shapes. So you can see circle is kind of the default one, but I can also put a square, a triangle, diamond. So let's say I really want to get kids focused on here. I drew my triangle. This might be where I want to like move it forward or back in the order, right? And then you can also see that once I've opened up a shape, so actually let me delete this, move it out of the way. Once I've opened up a shape, I've got some more options here. I can add a border color, so you can see that, and I can make it transparent if I want to, or I can fill my triangle. So there's lots of options there. And again, I would do this on screen with the students, just like I'm teaching you right now. I would show them how to do all these pieces. Basically, the way that I did it is one day I taught kids how to use sticky notes, and then we all made a sticky note. The next day I taught them how to use a text box, and we all used the text box. And in the third class, I showed them how to do image, and we all did image. So it's like small lessons, like mini lessons that kind of build on their skill within the Jamboard. Now, this is a really intuitive program, so I really wouldn't worry too much. The kids will probably start like showing you how much they know pretty quickly, especially if you give them just some time to kind of explore. If you are going to give them time to explore, I might make a sheet for each one of my students, and then give them like a number, right? So maybe in chat, I would write all their names down with a number next to it and say, hey, you know, George, you're going to be working on file 5. And then I'll show him how to get to file 5. And so then I could just let him explore, do whatever. So maybe a class assignment might be, I want you to add a text box, a sticky note, an image. I want you to draw on it, right? Like maybe I give them a list of things that they have to get done. And then I can check that Jamboard later to make sure that they did all those things. Of course, anytime I do something like that, I want to model it. So the very first slide in the whole deck, I'm going to make sure I have all those things on there. And I probably walk them through doing all those as well. So you have a couple options. You can do it all at once if you just want to let them explore, or you can break it down into mini lessons that you teach them. All right, and then the last one is laser. So maybe a student might be presenting. So you might say, great, you know, you did a great job on your side. I want you to present to the students how you did that, or I want you to present what's on the screen so they kind of can use it as a pointer to point to different things on the screen as I'm doing here. Okay, so again, you can clear it when you're done. You could also, here's some more options here. You can make a copy of the entire presentation, which might be nice if you want different periods of students to work on a different, on a completely different Jamboard. Might also be useful if you have a recurring Jamboard that you use every week, and so you just want to do minor edits instead of recreating the whole thing. And it does save it to your drive, as you can see here, which is really handy. Other things you can do is you can download this as a PDF. So if I've maybe like for the meme one that I'll show in a few minutes, I can download those pages and share them as PDF for students later on if I wanted to. You can also save the frame as an image. It's nice, it saves it into my drive. So a lot of times I've been using Jamboards to check attendance. So I tell students, in order for you to get credit for attendance today, I need you to participate. Well, I can download that frame into my drive, and then later I can make sure I know who was in class and who actually participated. I can also remove the Jamboard. I could check for updates, obviously. So lots of little options here. Renaming it is actually good too if I want to have a different one for each class. So there's that. So that's how you create one from scratch. The final thing that I want to show you on the screen is here where it's just open on a Jamboard. So a Jamboard could be a physical a piece of equipment that you can link as Bluetooth. So if I wasn't like teaching virtually like I am right now in a Google Meet, I could actually work on the screen and students can work on the screen, and then maybe it'll project to the Jamboard that's in my classroom. I don't have a Jamboard right now, but that's an option that I can use if I'm ever back to in-person teaching, which, I mean, I will be back in in-person teaching. So at some point, that's something I can look more into. So I'm going to close this one down real quick, and I want to show you, so now I'm back in my Google Meets. So I taught you how to make one from scratch, but now I want to show you how to open one that you've already created. I actually like to make my Jamboards before class so that it's prepped and ready to go and I'm not trying to create it. But you can see how easy it is to create if I needed to for whatever reason. So this time, and I'm going to go to open a jam, but I'm going to do choose from my drive. And so now all the possible jams that I've already created are going to pop up. So you can see these are the ones I made. This is the one that I used today, which is the Friday meme day, and then my stress Jamboard, which is a similar thing. So let me kind of just open one of these up to show you what it looks like. So this is one done by students. So the assignment was choose a school appropriate meme and paste it into the doc so we can all have a good laugh. Actually, I probably need a comma. Oh man, my English teacher's coming out. So there's that. But you can see the students all pasted a really funny meme, and I found this is a good like Friday way to open up the class, especially because it was a day that we are prepping for an exam, so anxiety was really high, and I just wanted to find a fun way for them to interact with me without like having stress. So you can see that they all included some really funny memes, and we had a good laugh about them. We even like voted on some of our favorites, that kind of thing, but it's open here. So that was really nice. So let me show you another one. So that was just one class. You can see I needed multiple slides to make sure all my students were able to participate. And then my ELD classes are a little bit smaller. So like today, I actually had a slide per class. So this is my period 4 add a meme, period 2, period 3, period, an extra one for period 3 because it was a bigger period. And then I'll add for later for period 5, period 6. So really handy tool and really easy. So I need to actually prep this for my 5th period class. So I'm going to copy this. I want to add a 6th slide and then just paste. So I'm just going to do a quick edit. I know I need one for period 5. Share that again. Paste here, and I know I'm going to need one for period 6. So now these are ready to go. Now, I don't necessarily want my period 5 and period 6 students seeing what the other class did just yet, because I want them to like put their answers first. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to shift the blank ones all the way to the front. And I've been doing that every class, so that they can see the blank ones. You can even add like just blank ones, so it's further down. Obviously kids can access it, but they may not see it right away, so they're going to be more original in their responses. So the last thing I want to show you is once the class is over, I don't necessarily want kids to still have editing privileges, because I'm not in there to watch what they're doing. And just like with anything, I need to teach students the correct way to interact online. So feel free to set up some good guidelines, and I would definitely set those up before you start opening this up, because they can edit, right? And they can be shifting other people's things around. So just make sure that you're really sure that they can handle it. And if they can't, maybe bringing back some permissions until they show you that they can handle the online interaction. I will tell you though, all of my students have loved using this, and I haven't had any trouble. I had one student who got excited about maybe using the pen, and I was like, hey, let's just bring that back a little bit, or we're going to remove permissions from you. So he was able to he so liked being a part of it that he was able to regulate himself. So anyway, and share, before I changed it so that anyone with a link can edit. So at the end of class, I'm actually going to change this, and I'm going to say, oh, anyone with the link can view. So now, even though students have access to the link, they can't go in there and add things, edit things, put things in there that I don't necessarily want them to be doing that may not be supervised or school appropriate. So now it's done. So it's going to change the permissions for everybody. So every student that I've shared with, if they still have the link, can get in it, but they are not able to make any changes to it. All they can do is see the work. All right, well, and then once you're done, you can go ahead and close it. And of course, it is saved to my drive. Yay! And I am good to go. Hey everyone, I'm back because I found something that I didn't include in the original video, but I found extremely helpful for the Jamboard practice. So let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. So first of all, you want to log into your Jamboard. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you can just do that by going to jamboard.google.com. And you can see here are all the Jamboards I've been using for my classes. And if you're like, wow, Miss Worsham, you have really jumped in and added a bazillion, you are right. I am loving these, and I'm using them for every single virtual class that I am teaching at the moment. So I want to show you real quick one activity that I did called coordinating conjunctions. So I'm going to open it here. So you can see normally I would create the activity by doing a text box, putting it in here. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can just rewind the video to before and you can get all this information. But one thing I found is I didn't really want things moving around, and I found that could be a problem too, because students can move things back and forth as they're trying to answer questions. So I wanted to create like a solid background. And at first I thought I wouldn't be able to do it, but I just found a workaround that allows me to do that. So it kind of creates like a stationary digital worksheet, and then students can just add to it. So let me explain what I mean. So here you can see it is a Jamboard page, but students can't select anything on here. So this kind of worked like a background that cannot be changed in any way. What they could do is add to it, right? Like they can add a sticky note, just like I'll do one, and they can add that and move it around, or they can add a text box, which is what I'm going to tell my students to do, so that they can answer the questions, right? So they can add text boxes anywhere that it requires a response, right? So I'm going to show you what I did in order to create this, and then how I facilitated using it in a live classroom. Okay, so the first thing I did was I created this document within a Google Slides presentation. I find slides really easy to use. It's easy to manipulate, move things around, change the coloring, all of that. So all I did was create a slide. I made the layout be title and body, And then I just filled in the information that I would want them to show me. So basically, I just created a worksheet for them. Now, this one is editable. Obviously, I can always go back and change it any way that I want to. So then I decided I want them to do this, but I don't want them to do it on their own sheet of paper because I want to see them fill this in live so that I can see if they're understanding the information, and if they're not, I can quickly adjust on the fly in front of them to make sure they do get that information. So now I want to download it, so because it's ready to go. I've made it. I've done everything that I want to do, and I always add name because on the Jamboards I want to make sure I know who answered what on one page. So anyway, I go up to here to File, and then I can press Download. And you can see there are 2 options for downloading an image. Both of these options, well actually 3, but we're going to use these either one of these top 2, and you can see that it only does the current slide, which is perfect because I don't want the entire presentation in image form. I just want the this particular slide. So I'm going to press JPEG image, and there it is downloaded. See, I've already downloaded once, but now it's downloaded twice, so it's ready to go, and it's called ELD 7 through December 7th, sorry, through December 12th. Okay, so then I'm going to go back to my Jamboard. So let's say I'm in page, like a blank page, right? I haven't started creating it, but I want to set it as my background so that students can just add to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Set Background, and then we had the options to set before, right? We have all these really cool options that I can use, but what I want to do is I want to add my own image. And this time I'm going to browse through my computer. I'm going to go to my downloads, and there it is right there. And now I have embedded it as its own background. So now the student can't adjust it in any way, can't do anything to it, but they can add to it by putting a text box. All right, everyone, that's all I have for you today. I hope you found that information interesting. Thank you for your patience as I jumped in with an extra chunk of video there. I just figured out how to use that background, and I really wanted to give you that information because I think it'll be a game changer for your online classroom. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments how you're implementing this in your classroom. See you on the internet.